Okay. So the first one under consumer choices, need recognition. Under stages, we are having the first one, that is consumer choice. Under that first one, need recognition. So what is need recognition? First you should know what is your requirement. You in the sense a consumer or a person who buys, basically a customer. First, if you don't know what you need, then what are you going to buy? So first is need recognition. So if you know what is your need, next comes information search. So what is information search? You are going to search what is that you need, you already know. So you will search where it is available, how it is available, what are the characteristics, what are the different alternatives that I can get. So all this is the information search. Next comes the evaluation of alternatives. So what do you mean by evaluation of alternatives? In the information search, you have already got multiple similar products that you are in requirement of. So now you start comparing. So for example, here I'll give you your mobile phones. So if you want to buy a mobile phone, what do? You go to some of the website, you start comparing one phone with the other, right? So comparing in the sense, you can start comparing with the screen size, the RAM, the inbuilt memory that you can use, then the quality of the camera, what megapixel it is, then what kind of glass, protective glass is being provided. So all these things you are comparing. So that is what we are having, evaluation of alternatives. So after evaluation, you come to an conclusion that you are going to buy this one. So where purchasing that particular product or service. So this is the consumer choice. Okay. So you are choosing, first you should know what you need. Then you are going for searching the information about it. Next you are going for evaluation of different alternatives. Then you are purchasing one of the alternatives. So next comes consumer experience. So as you buy, you start using it. So that is what is your experience. Then comes post experience evaluation. That means whether it was good, it was bad, it is performing well as per your expectations or not. So these all comes under post experience evaluation. Okay. So I'll take an example of a laptop now. Okay, laptop. As you are doing your internship report now you might need a laptop to start making your report, right? So previously if you don't have a laptop, you need now, or if you are having a laptop and it's not working, you have to go for a new one or look for repairs. So anyhow you are trying to buy a new laptop. So you got your need, you have recognized your need, that you need a laptop for a certain thing. So here the certain thing is you are preparing your report. So for that particular thing, you need a laptop. So need is done. So what you do now? You go for information search. So how do you search for an information? First, you directly log into any of the websites. You start comparing. You just do that? No. You start calling your friends who already have laptops or having knowledge about laptops, right? You call them. You call them and ask which is good one, what are the different variations that I could need. As I am having this particular requirement, what would be the price range that he has bought, how is the service of the provider, and all those things you just ask. So what are these things called as? Internal and external. So first you are trying to find out externally what all you know, that is you are going online and searching. Then you are asking your friends, your relatives, or your family members, or someone who is knowledgeable about what product you are basically looking for. Okay. So it is called as personal and non-personal sources. So personal sources are your friends, relatives, and all those people, and non-personal is you are going to any of the websites and you are searching. So next, going to evaluation of alternatives. So you have gathered information already now. Okay, that okay, many people have told this particular company is good for whatever work you have said. Then you have gone on internet or on any website and you have searched. Now everything is there in front of you. Now you have to decide as a person who is buying it and using it. Now you have to decide. So on what basis you are doing it? On what need you have or what all work you are going to do on that particular laptop. So you are presently doing a report, but only report that you are going to do on that? No, right? You can play different games, you can watch movies, you can run different softwares, you can simulate, you can edit, all those things you can do, right? So what kind of system you require, what is the RAM that you need, what is the processor, whatever software you are running, will that particular processor work on it? So all these things are very important. So after evaluation, what you do, you tend to choose a particular configuration with a particular company product, then you are going to purchase it. Okay, so customer choice is done. Next, you have purchased it, you have got it, you have uh, installed all the softwares that are required, and you have configured it as per your requirement. Now you are using it. So here consumer experience comes into picture. Consumer in the sense you are the consumer now. So you are experiencing whatever you have bought, right? So after experience, if somebody calls you back again, some of your friends or your relatives again, yeah, I want to buy a laptop now. So what are you going to do? You are going to give a post experience evaluation. So whether the buy what you have done is good, bad, how is the services, how the keyboard is, what is the weight of that particular laptop, the screen is good or no. So all these things you evaluate and you tell that particular person based on your experience. So here post experience evaluation is very important. Why? Because you are going to suggest someone whether to buy this particular product or not based on your experience. So I hope you understood this. So moving to the next one, that is customer expectations of services. So what do you mean by customers expectation of services? I'll tell you a small instance here. I'll tell you a small instance. So there were few people from US, okay, who wanted to travel to London. Okay. So what happens in London or in UK, when they travel, they reach a particular hotel based on the travel guide's information. Okay, the travel guide also has booked a hotel based on your preferences, what kind of hotel you are in requirement of. So in US, if you see a two-star hotel, the basic amenities there would be cleanliness first. Whatever the room is there is clean. You are having some fridge, then you are having a microwave oven, you are having a big TV, you are having internet facilities. You will be given toiletries, that is soap, shampoo, brush, and other stuff, toiletries, as well as fresh towels each day. Okay, in US. This is a two-star hotel in US. Now they come to London, and as per their requirement, that is two-star hotel is enough as of US standards. So they come to UK, pre booking was done for them, and they go to that particular hotel. When they get in, they are very much in shock. Why? Because it is completely different than what they had expected. Okay, here it was not so clean. They did not give them towels every day. I mean, the fresh towels. There were no toiletries kept. So that is what is two-star in UK. So this is where I'm trying to tell you is how the expectations of the different people come. Okay, that is what is types of expectations customer hold for service performance. So he had an experience that two-star hotel is like this in a particular country, but when you travel to some other country, the same thing might be completely different. Okay, the standards might be completely different. So similarly, I'll give you one more example. In Japan, if you go, if you are a customer, you are treated like a king. Okay, as if when you are entering, the salesperson will come and greet you at the and he will show you. He will give you a royal treatment. However small thing you are buying or whatever the huge amount you are buying, he will give you a royal treatment. king. Okay, as you are a customer. That is what is there in Japan. So one of the instances is a person goes to Japan, he doesn't know to speak Japanese. Five, six people come, run around, he wanted to buy a pen. So they come around, they try to find out a person who knows English or who can translate or who can communicate, help communication between the employees as well as the customer. But the customer wanted to just buy a pen. For that, they were running around like anything. Many people started getting different kind of pens to him. They tried to get different translators. So this is what is happening in Japan. Just imagine if a person goes to some other place in a departmental store, if he comes and stands there, nobody is there to greet him. Why? Because their culture is not like that. He has experienced a culture or a service delivery which is very different than what is experiencing now. That person may be very annoyed or very angry as people are not coming to greet him or they are not trying to help him shop. So this is what is the expectation. Next, sources of customer expectations. So sources in the sense from where you get these particular expectations. One is your own experience, as I just gave you two instances. Your own experiences will help you. People or some other sources. Okay. Like for example, if somebody goes to a particular restaurant and comes back and he's talking to you, okay, I had been to that particular restaurant and the food available there is very good. Especially this particular item is very, very good and it is very tasty. So if you go there, you have to taste this particular dish. So you have an expectation now. As a person has told you, so this is one of the sources. So next, coming to possible levels of customer expectations. So here on your left, there are different kind of expectations given, and in your right, they have given example with respect to a restaurant low. Okay, from top to bottom it is high to low. So what happens here? If you see, we'll start from low. Low, that is minimum tolerable expectations. So what is there? I expect terrible service from this restaurant, but come because the price is low. Okay. The customer is not happy, but still he will go there because the prices are low. This is what is minimum he is expecting. The service is terrible, but the price is low. He is satisfied somehow. Next comes acceptable expectations. So what is there here? Restaurant to serve me in a adequate manner. In a adequate manner. What do you mean? So adequate manner in the sense minimum type of service which is expected in a restaurant. So that is acceptable expectations. Next, moving to experienced norms. So what is it? Experienced norms. So here it says most times this restaurant is very good, but when it gets busy, the service is slow. Okay. Here we are having an expectation based on the experience. Okay. So what do the person is telling here? Or what do that particular person mean by this? He says, most of the time the said they serve you bit slow or they delay your service. Okay, that is what is experience based norms. Next is normative expectations. That is, it should happen. What do you mean by it should happen? So we'll see here. As expensive as this restaurant is, it ought to have excellent food and service. So what do this means? This means here it is said that this restaurant is very costly or the food served here is very costly. So what you expect when I am paying so much of amount, the quantity should be so much, the regular restaurant which I go, which I pay very less than what I am paying here. So you are expecting a service which is equal to the amount of money that you are paying to that particular restaurant for that particular dish. So I'll just read it again. As expensive as this restaurant is, it ought to have excellent food and service. That means they should not delay, they should ask for your preferences, they should ask whether you need it spicy, medium, or low, what is the quantity that you require. In many places, they do, they'll ask what quantity you require, how much are you going to eat. When that is there, then whether it should be very hot, it should be medium, or differs from person to person. And the next one is ideal expectations or desires. So this is ideal. So what it says, everyone says this restaurant is as good as one in France, and I want to go somewhere very special for my anniversary. So what does this mean? This is heard by someone. That is, this is as good as a restaurant that is very famous in France. So that means I need to make my anniversary special, so I need to go to that particular restaurant. So these are your ideal expectations. That means they should blow your mind. There should be something exceptional that needs to be happening in that particular restaurant. Okay. So we saw in minimum tolerable expectations, minimum tolerable expectations, then acceptable expectations, experience based norms, normative expectations, that is it should happen or it should be like that only, that is normative. Then ideal expectations or desires. Next, moving to dual customer expectations levels and the zone of tolerance. So first we will see what is dual customer expectation. So dual in the sense two, we are having desired service and adequate service. These are the two expectations basically, that is we call service, and the top level is desired service. Here what they mean, for example, for purpose of our discussion here, the highest can be termed as desired service. That is the highest level of service what you can think of is desired service. You desire the best for yourself. So the highest that can be termed is desired service. The level of service the customer hopes to receive. That is you are hoping to receive. Or the wished for level of performance is called as desired service. For example, I'll give you a computer attractive and interesting people to date with. Or it can so happen that based on that particular date, they can move ahead and get married also. So what is desired what with that particular dating website? How the person should be? They should be attractive, compatible, and interesting. If these particular qualities are not being given to you, you never go to that particular website. So this is desired service. So next is we are seeing the threshold level of acceptable service is adequate service. That is the at least minimum they should give me some this particular service, that is adequate service. That is the threshold level of acceptable service is adequate service, or the level of service the customer will accept. Okay, the lowest that he says okay, okay chalta hai. So that is the adequate service. So here customers typically hold similar desired expectations across categories of service, but these categories are not so broad as whole industries. So here I'll give you an example. Among subcategories of restaurants, here we am giving you an example of restaurant. Okay, here subcategories of restaurants are expensive restaurants, ethnic restaurants, fast food restaurants, and airport restaurants. So a customer's desired service expectation for an expensive restaurant is it should be clean, the food should be tasty, it should be convenient, and the restaurant should provide them quick service. Okay, this is what you are desiring from an expensive restaurant. So if you are seeing a airport restaurant or a fast food restaurant or fast food joint, what is the requirement over there? Why it is called as fast food? Because you just come, you eat and you leave. So here the expectation is they should provide you with the food as and when you ask for it. Okay, they should not wait, they should not make you wait for a certain period of time. It can be very little, for 1 to 2 minutes, until they plate it and give it to you, or else it should not be like 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so, otherwise it's not a fast food. So what is expected of a fast food restaurant is, as and when you go and give an order, they should give you in the minimum amount of time possible. But in an expensive restaurant, your expectations are completely different. Okay, so desired expectation for an expective expensive restaurant would be tasty food, clean setting. The restaurant should give you very quick service or whatever you ask for. Okay, and on the other hand, usually elegant surroundings, gracious employees, candle lights, and fine food. This is the general thing what you are looking for, other than whatever I told you earlier. Next, coming to zone of tolerance. What is zone of tolerance? Here, first we'll see services are heterogeneous, as you already know. Services, we have covered it in the definition of services. That is, it is heterogeneous. What do you mean by that? In that heterogeneous in that performance. That is, it may vary across the providers. If there are many service providers, the service can be changed, or it can have a variation in the service. It may not be same as each and every service provider gives you. Okay, or it can be vary with different employees. So it is of the same service provider, but the employee who is providing you the service is different. Even then, the type of service that you are receiving might change. Okay, or even same with the service employees. So that means here are two reasons, basic two reasons. One is you are having multiple service providers, and the service of each provider is bit different than other, or it can so happen it can be the same service provider, but he is having multiple employees, and different employee is serving you or giving you service at a different moment of time. At that moment also there can be certain changes in the service that is provided by the company itself, because each and every person is different. So similarly, there could be some small changes, however standardized you make it, there would be minute changes, or it can be huge changes also based on the type of person and whatever work he is doing, or with whatever experience he is doing. So this is very much important. So here the extent to which customers recognize and are willing to accept this variation. So as you already know, there might be some variation. So the extent to which this variation is acceptable. Okay, this is known as zone of tolerance. So usually the zone of tolerance is between desired service and adequate service. Okay, so that is, you can see on the screen where is the zone of tolerance. Zone of tolerance is here. That is between desired service and adequate service. Okay. That is zone of tolerance. Again, this can be asked for 3 marks. Very much important. What is zone of tolerance? It's a zone between desired service and adequate service. So I have to give the definition of desired service. So what do you mean by desired service? Then adequate service. Then you have to tell the difference between, or the area between these particular two services. That is desired service and the adequate service is known as zone of tolerance. Okay. Excuse me. Zone of tolerance. So you might consider the zone of tolerance as the range or the window in which customers do not particularly notice service performance. That means they may not even recognize the small variations in whatever variations that was given by the different employees or different services. So that means you fall under zone of tolerance. So if you are moving above or uh, you are, how can I say, above in the sense, more than desired basically. If you move ahead than the desired service, then people recognize. They feel that okay, this is the best service that I have got in terms of that particular services. Okay, so that's the best they can tell you, or that is the better one than others if we are comparing with something else. So if you are giving them a service which is better than the desired service. So, on the contrary, if you go, if you are giving less than the adequate service, at that time also people notice and they say, this particular service provider is not so good, is not giving me the adequate amount of service that is being needed. So, you may not refer that particular service or that particular person later on to somebody else because your experience is not good and it's not adequate according to you. So I just want to tell you one thing here. The desired service and adequate service would be differing from person to person. If a person who is having too much of experience in restaurants or he is visiting different restaurants frequently, so his desired service would be completely different than a person who is occasionally visiting a uh, restaurant. So the desired service and the adequate service would change based on the person or his experience or his thinking basically. Okay. So next is factors that influence desired service. Okay, factors that influence desired service. Here we are having the personal needs and lasting service intensifiers. This is with respect to the desired service. So how do you get the desired service? Okay, that is what we are learning here. So this part is basically more focused on the desired service. Here we are having two different things, that is personal needs and lasting service intensifiers. So first we'll see personal needs. So personal needs are those states or conditions essential to the physical or psychological well-being of a customer. So what do you mean by this? So you are basically looking at physical or psychological well-being, okay, and are very much important factors that shape what customers desire in service. So here, personal needs focuses more on your physical or psychological well-being. Okay. Personal needs can fall into many categories which include physical, social, psychological and functional needs. So under personal needs, what all comes? We are having physical needs, social needs, psychological needs and functional needs. So these all things come under personal needs. Next, moving to lasting service intensifiers, or the second major influence on the desired service expectations would be the lasting service intensifiers. Individual stable factors that lead the customer to a heightened sensitivity of service. That means if you avail that particular service, you should feel good. So that is what is heightened sensitivity to service. One of the most important of these factors is called derived service expectations. So next one, under lasting service intensifiers, we are having two things. So the first one is derived service expectations. So what is derived service expectations? In which it occurs when customers' expectations are driven by another person or group of people. Derived, the term or the word derived should tell you that it is from something else. It has come from something else. Like I told you, your friend has gone to a particular restaurant and he tells you, this is very good. You can try this particular dish over there. So that is derived. Your expectation is derived. You have not experienced it personally. You are listening it to someone else. Okay, or this is a good side. If it is on the negative side or bad side, it is if a person goes to a restaurant and says, "Arey, what kind of service? It was waste there. The food was not tasting good. It was very expensive, and the ambience was not that good as to give so much of price to those particular dishes. So this is the negative side. Positive side is okay, how pleasant it is. Uh, there is light music which is being played. The ambience is good. The lighting is best. The food tastes too good for the price that I have given. So this is the positive thing. So it is derived in the sense it is coming from somewhere else, or you have listened it to someone else, or it can be so. For example, if you are buying something through internet, if you browse, there would be some comments or suggestions given by people who have already used it. So based on, or even you could see the rating of that particular product, whether it is good, bad. So usually it is given 5-star rating. So you will go and see your minimum requirement would be 4 or more than 4 stars. Otherwise, you go and you check what are the problems. There would be some 1 stars, 2 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars, whatever it is. So you go and check what was the problem with the people who have used it. So this is derived service expectations. You have never used the product, you are trying to, or you are looking to buy it now, and you have got some responses. Based on that, it is you are going to decide whether to buy it or not. So these are derived service expectations. So next one, another lasting service intensifier is personal service philosophy. Personal service philosophy. Here, the customer's underlying generic attitude about the meaning of service and the proper conduct of service providers. What do you mean by this? How do you think about the product? Your personal opinion about the product. You are not thinking about who has said what, whether it is good, bad, or whatever it is. What do you think about that particular product? Your personal philosophy towards that particular product or service. That is very important. So these all matters. That is the personal needs, lasting service intensifiers, under that two things, that is personal service philosophy and derived service expectations. These all come together to give you an desired service. So now you understood how you are ending up to have an desired expectation of certain service. Okay. Next, moving to factors that influence adequate service. So we just saw about derived service. Now we are moving to adequate service. So the first set here, there we had two major, and under the second one we had two more. But here we are having four major things that give you the adequate service. The first set of elements is the temporary service intensifiers. This consists of short-term individual factors that make a customer more aware of the need for service. That means you need it now, you are hungry and you need food. So that is temporary, because at that moment you are hungry and you need to eat food. So that is what is your temporary service intensifier. So personal emergency situations in which service is urgently needed. Okay, service is urgently needed. Raise the level of adequate service expectations, particularly in terms of level of responsiveness required and considered acceptable. So you want to go to a restaurant, you want to have food. In general conditions, okay, you could wait for a certain period of time. But if you are very hungry, so what you do, your expectation is the restaurant should serve you food as soon as possible because you are very much hungry. So that is temporary again. If you eat food, that hunger goes out. So temporary service intensifier. So why do you intensely need it? Because at that particular moment you are hungry. Coming to the next one, that is perceived service alternatives. Perceived service alternatives are other providers from whom the customer can obtain service. If customers believe they have multiple, if customers believe they have multiple service providers to choose from, or if they can provide the service for themselves, their levels of adequate service are higher than those of customers who believe it is not possible to get better service elsewhere. So here, alternatives. This is the word to remember. Pursued service alternatives. You go to a, again I'll take the experience, like the example of, you are being hungry. You are going to a particular restaurant. You are sitting there. You can go with your friend also. So you are going with your friend there, and you are thinking of having food as you are very much hungry, and you have ordered food, and the service is being delayed due to various reasons. And your friend says, "Hey, why did you go to this come to this particular restaurant? There is one more restaurant which is just next to this, where he provides the services very fast." So you are perceiving that the service that is given by some other service provider is faster than this particular person. You are perceiving based on the alternatives that you are having. Okay. Or if you are not having any alternatives, you have to wait to get the food, because that is the only thing that is available to you. There are no alternatives. Right? So this is pursued service alternatives. Next, the third factor affecting the level of adequate service is the customer's self-perceived service role. Self-perceived service role. What do you mean by this? We define this as customer perceptions of the degree to which customers exert an influence on the level of service they receive. So in other words, if you want to say, customers' expectations are partly shaped by how well they believe they are performing their own roles in service delivery. What do you mean by own roles? Self-perceived service role. Here, the word to remember is role. Self-perceived service role. That means you as a customer, what are you doing to speed up that particular delivery of service? So, for example, if it is a place where you only have to take and eat, for example, a buffet. So, how fast you take the food depends on you. Okay. Or if you are hungry, you know you cannot wait for a longer period of time. You could have gone to a buffet. That means your role is very important. Nobody is there to serve you. They'll just make sure that that particular food is available at a particular place. You have to go, you have to pick the plate, you have to put whatever quantity of whatever dish you are liking, and you have to start eating. So it is self-perceived service role. That means the role that the customer only assumes so that he could get the service faster or adequate service. So in service providing, even the customer has a role in it. So in the coming classes, in the coming chapters, we'll learn how a customer is also a part of the service delivery process. So he is also a member who makes sure whether the service delays or the service is quick. Okay, self-perceived service role. Third one, and the fourth one is situational factors. Levels of adequate service are also influenced by situational factors, defined as service performance conditions that customers view as beyond the control of the service provider. For example, where personal emergencies such as serious automobile accidents have happened and you are looking for an insurance company for claiming. That means the insurance company should help you get that insurance amount as there is an accident, right? So in general, you are having an insurance to your vehicle, okay? And if that particular vehicle meet with an accident, you are suddenly thinking of the insurance company to pay you back that particular amount which is being billed over there. If the company delays, what do you feel? You feel, okay, this is not a good company, so I am not bothering them uh, other than this particular accident. But at this time, they should have helped me. Or if the company helps you, they only come and help you in in a manner which you are not expected. What do you say? The service of this particular company is very, very good, excellent. Okay, so this is situational factors. So these all factors come into place while you are having an adequate service expectancy. That is, four things are: first one, temporary service intensifiers. Temporarily, you are in need of it. Pursued service alternatives. If you are having multiple alternatives, which one are you choosing from? Next one is self-perceived service role. So, how the customer has a role, or what role he is playing in completion of that particular service, as he is a part of the service delivery process. Then next comes situational factors. So at that particular situation, the service needs to be provided. Yeah, at that particular situation, you are expecting a very good service to be provided to you. So these are the four factors which gives you your adequate service level. Okay, we'll stop here today. Okay, so we'll just have a recap what all we did. So we just saw different stages in consumer decision making. Under this, we saw consumer choice, consumer experience, and post experience evaluation. Next, consumer expectations of, or customer expectations of service. In this, types of expectations customers hold for service performance, sources of expectations. And next, we saw possible levels of customer expectations. So here we took an example of a restaurant and we had different levels. So minimum tolerable to the ideal expectations. That is what we saw today. Next is dual customer expectations. So what is dual? Dual is two. We are having two expectations, that is adequate service as well as desired service levels, and zone of tolerance. The area between the desired service and the adequate service is the zone of tolerance. Next, we saw the factors that are influencing you to have the desired service. Here we are having two major, that is personal needs and lasting services intensifiers. So we are having two things under lasting service intensifiers. First one is derived service expectations, that is you are getting those expectations from somewhere else. You are listening to someone else. You are looking at a review of something given by someone who has experienced it, but it's not your own experience. Next is personal service philosophy. What you actually think about that particular service is this personal service philosophy. These all things are helping you to have a desired expectation of service. Next, moving to factors that help you in having adequate service. Here we are having four major things, that is temporary service intensifiers, that means temporarily you require that particular service. Next is pursued service alternatives. So you are looking into different alternatives that you have and who is providing me the best service out of the alternatives. Next, you are looking into self-perceived service role as a customer. What role you are playing to have the proper or the adequate service at the minimum amount of time. And next is situational factors. So you are looking into a particular service at that particular situation. Okay, this is what we saw today. So we'll end the class. Before this, any doubts in this particular class or in the previous class? If anybody is having, you can just ask now. Anyone? No, right? Good.
No, sir.
We will stop.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.